Marcus Thompson ripped off his jacket and dove into the black water. The cold hit like 1,000 knives. October runoff from the mountains, the kind that stopped hearts. He didn't care. 50 feet ahead, a woman's hand broke the surface once, then disappeared. "Daddy!" His 7-year-old daughter screamed from the riverbank. He couldn't answer, couldn't breathe, could only swim. When he finally dragged the woman onto the grass, she wasn't breathing. He pounded her back until river water poured from her mouth, until she gasped, until she grabbed his wrist and asked the question that would change everything. "Would you stay if I undressed everything?" She wasn't talking about her clothes. "Comment your city. Let me see how far this story reaches." Marcus's fist hit the woman's back again. "Come on! Come on!" Water poured from her mouth. Her body convulsed. Nothing. "Breathe, damn it!" He struck again, harder. She coughed, choked, vomited river water onto the grass.
"That's it."
Marcus rolled her onto her side, one hand steadying her shoulder. "Breathe. Just breathe." Rain started falling, light at first, then harder. The woman's body shook violently, her expensive clothes destroyed, dark hair plastered to her face like seaweed. "Daddy!" Zara's voice. Marcus turned. His daughter stood 20 feet away, frozen on the pathway, small hands pressed to her mouth. "Stay there, baby. Don't move." "Is she dead?" "No, she's okay. Stay there." The woman pushed herself to her knees. In the dim glow of the street lamp, Marcus saw jewelry at her throat, a watch on her wrist that cost more than his truck. She looked at him with eyes that held terror, not the drowning kind, something deeper. "You," her voice cracked. "You saved me." "You needed help." "No." She shook her head, kept shaking it. "People don't, when they see, they don't." "Hey," Marcus gripped her shoulders. "You're in shock. We need to get you warm. Hospital's 10 minutes. No hospital." "Lady, no hospital." The words exploded from her. No questions, no cameras, no reporters asking how the CEO of Chase Industries almost drowned in a river. Marcus went still. CEO. He looked at her again, at the ruined silk blouse, the diamond earrings. The kind of woman who appeared on magazine covers, not drowning in the Alder River on a Tuesday evening. "Please," her voice dropped to a whisper. "I can't. I need to ask you something first." Marcus glanced back at Zara. His daughter stood rigid with fear, rain soaking through her jacket. Every instinct screamed at him to grab his child and go, to let this rich woman call her own people, solve her own problems. But something in her face stopped him. The same look Zara had worn the night she found her mother dead on the kitchen floor. "What?" he asked. The woman met his eyes. Rain ran down her face like tears. "Would you stay if I undressed everything?" Marcus didn't move. "I don't mean," she gestured at her soaked clothes. "Not my body. I mean the things I hide, the parts nobody sees. Would you stay if you saw who I really am?" The question hung in the air, raw, desperate. The kind of question that came from somewhere deep and wounded. Marcus knew that place. He'd lived there for 2 years. "I'm Marcus," he said quietly. "That's my daughter, Zara. Right now you're going to freeze to death if we don't move. After you're warm, you can ask me anything you want." "Eleanor," her teeth chattered. "Eleanor Chase." "Can you walk, Eleanor?" "I think so." He helped her stand. She swayed, and he caught her elbow. "Zara, come here, baby." His daughter ran to him. He felt her small body press against his side, trembling. Is the lady okay, Daddy? She will be. We're going to help her. She's really cold. I know. Like the puppy we found, remember? Marcus's jaw tightened. The puppy hadn't survived. He'd buried it in the backyard after Zara went to sleep. Yeah, baby, but this lady's going to be fine. The truck smelled like sawdust and French fries. Marcus cranked the heat to maximum. In the passenger seat, Eleanor huddled in his flannel shirt, her shaking slowly subsiding. Zara sat in the back, eyes wide, watching everything. Where am I taking you? Hightower Building, downtown. Marcus knew the building. 43 floors of glass and steel. Condos that cost more than he'd make in a lifetime. That's 20 minutes. I know. He pulled onto the main road. The wipers beat a steady rhythm against the rain. Why did you do it? Eleanor's voice was steadier now, still fragile, but controlled. Do what? Jump in. You had your daughter. You didn't know me. You could have called 911. Wouldn't have made it in time. That's not what I asked. Marcus gripped the steering wheel. My wife used to say I had a hero complex. Used to? She died 2 years ago. Eleanor turned to look at him. I'm sorry. Me too. Silence. The truck's engine hummed. I don't swim, Eleanor said suddenly. Haven't been in water for 23 years. Not since I was 12. What happened when you were 12? My brother drowned. Beach vacation. Riptide. Her voice went flat. My parents were right there, 20 feet away. Couldn't reach him in time. I watched him go under. Watched him stop fighting. Watched my father dive in and come up alone. Jesus. I was in the water with them, trying to help. The waves kept knocking me down. I could hear my brother screaming, then I couldn't. She stared out the window. I made myself a promise that day, never again, never go in the water again. Tonight I was walking, trying to clear my head. The path was wet. My heels slipped. A bitter laugh. 23 years of keeping that promise, and I almost died the same way David did. But you didn't. Because of you. Because I was there. Because you jumped. Eleanor turned to face him. People see me drowning all the time, Marcus. In boardrooms, in meetings, in relationships. They watch. They don't jump. Marcus didn't know what to say. In the back seat, Zara's small voice broke the silence. My mommy died too. Eleanor went still. She fell down in the kitchen. I tried to wake her up, but she wouldn't wake up. Then the ambulance came, but they couldn't fix her. Marcus's hands tightened on the wheel. Daddy cried for a really long time, but he said we'd be okay. He said we'd take care of each other. Zara, Marcus's voice was rough. That's enough, baby. I'm just telling her, so she knows. Eleanor's eyes glistened in the dashboard light. She turned to look at Zara. How old were you? 5. Now I'm 7. Daddy says Mommy watches me from heaven, like an angel. An angel, Marcus corrected automatically. That's what I said. Eleanor's face crumpled, just for a second. Then she controlled it. Your daddy's right, she said softly. She's watching. I'm sure of it. The Hightower building's lobby gleamed like a museum. Marcus felt every mud stain on his boots as he walked Eleanor to the elevator. The doorman had taken one look at his building's most famous resident, soaked, wearing a stranger's flannel, barely able to stand, and immediately offered to call an ambulance. Eleanor refused. Ms. Chase, I'm fine, Gerald. This man saved my life. He's escorting me upstairs. Gerald's eyes swept over Marcus. taking in the work boots, the calloused hands, the dark skin and the cheap haircut, and everything that didn't belong in this marble palace. "Of course, Miss Chase." The elevator required a keycard, private access, the kind of security that kept people like Marcus out and people like Eleanor in. They rose in silence. Zara held Marcus's hand, her head swiveling to take in the mirrors, the gold trim, the lights that probably cost more than his monthly rent. "You live all the way up here?" she asked. "I do." "Do you get scared?" Eleanor's breath caught. "What do you mean?" "Being so high up. What if there's a fire?" The elevator stopped. The doors opened. Eleanor didn't move. "Yes," she said finally. "I get scared." She stepped out into a penthouse that stretched across the entire floor. Floor to ceiling windows. The city lights spread below like scattered diamonds. Furniture that looked like it belonged in a museum. Marcus stopped at the threshold. "I should go. Get Zara home. She's got school tomorrow." "Wait," Eleanor's voice cracked. "Please, just 5 minutes. Let me change. Let me thank you properly." "You don't owe me anything." "I owe you my life." "Then we're even. I pulled you out. Debt paid." "That's not how it works." "How does it work?" Eleanor stepped closer. Even in her ruined clothes, even with river water still dripping from her hair, she commanded attention. The kind of woman who ran companies and ended careers with a phone call. But her eyes told a different story. "I don't know," she admitted. "I've spent my whole life knowing exactly how things work. Tonight, I don't know anything." Marcus looked at his daughter. Zara was examining a sculpture on a side table, some kind of twisted metal that probably cost more than his truck. 5 minutes, he said. Eleanor disappeared down a hallway. Marcus stood in the middle of her living room, feeling like an intruder. "Daddy, this place is really big." "Yeah, baby." "Does she live here alone?" "I think so." "That's sad." "Why sad?" Zara looked up at him with her mother's eyes. "Because big houses get lonely. Remember when we moved to our apartment? You said it was small, but it was okay because we had each other." Marcus's throat tightened. "Yeah, baby. I remember." Eleanor returned, wearing a sweater and soft pants. Without the armor of her business clothes, she looked younger, vulnerable. "Tea?" she offered. "We should go." "1 cup, please. It's the least I can do." They sat at her kitchen island. Zara fell asleep within minutes, her head resting on her folded arms. "She's beautiful," Eleanor said, watching her. "She looks like you." "She looks like her mother." "Does that make it harder or easier?" "Both." Eleanor wrapped her hands around her mug. Steam rose between them. "The question I asked you," she said, "on the riverbank." "Yeah." "I need you to understand what I meant." She stood, walked to the window. For a long moment, she stared at the city lights. Then, with deliberate slowness, she lifted the hem of her sweater. Marcus saw them immediately. Scars, running up her left side from hip to shoulder. Old burns, the kind that came from fire. Healed, but permanent. Raised and textured, the skin pulled tight in some places, rippled in others. She let the sweater drop and turned to face him. "When I was 7 years old, my house caught fire." Marcus didn't move. "My parents got my older brother out first. His room was closer to the stairs. My father told me to wait by the window. He'd come back for me." Her voice stayed flat, reciting facts. "The fire spread faster than anyone expected. When he came back, the hallway was gone. The floor was falling apart. He couldn't reach me." "How long?" 8 minutes. Alone in a burning room, watching the door and waiting for my father to come through it." How did you get out? Firefighter came through the roof, cut a hole and carried me down a ladder. I was unconscious by then. Smoke inhalation. She touched her side through the sweater. They said I almost didn't make it. 4 months in the burn unit. 26 surgeries over the next 10 years. Marcus thought about Zara, 7 years old, alone in a burning room for 8 minutes. His stomach turned. And your brother, David? Eleanor's face changed. A flash of something. Guilt, grief, old wounds ripped open. David lived. He was fine. Perfect, actually. No scars, no trauma. He went on to have a normal life. Wife, kids, house in the suburbs. Her voice hardened. He doesn't talk to me much anymore. I make him uncomfortable. That's his problem. Is it? Look at me, Marcus. Really look. He did. He saw a woman who'd survived something terrible, who'd built an empire from the ashes of a burning house, who stood in a penthouse worth millions and still felt worthless. I see you, he said. You see scars. I see a woman who's still standing, after everything tried to knock her down. Eleanor's composure cracked. Her eyes welled. People don't stay, she whispered. When they see the scars, they change. They get uncomfortable. They treat me like I'm fragile or damaged or... She stopped. I wanted to know if you'd do that too. I won't. You don't know that. I know exactly that. Marcus stood, walked to her. He didn't touch her, didn't know if that would be welcome, but he stood close enough that she could see his face clearly. 2 years ago, I came home from work and found my wife dead on the kitchen floor. Mia was sitting next to her, trying to wake her up. She'd been there for an hour, alone with her dead mother. Eleanor's hand flew to her mouth. I wanted to die, Marcus continued. For months, I wanted to die. The only thing that kept me breathing was that little girl over there. She needed me. So I learned to fall apart where she couldn't see me. In the shower, in the car, at 3 a.m. when the nightmares hit. He met her eyes. You asked if I'd stay if you undressed everything. If I'd stay when I saw who you really were. He paused. Lady, I've been undressed for 2 years. I've got nothing left to hide. And I'm still standing. Just like you. Eleanor stared at him. The silence stretched. Then she did something he didn't expect. She laughed. Not a bitter laugh, not a broken one. A real laugh, surprised and almost joyful. Who are you, Marcus Thompson? Just a guy who jumped in a river. No, you're more than that. She wiped her eyes. I've met presidents, Fortune 500 CEOs, people who run countries. None of them have ever talked to me like that. Like what? Like I'm a person, not a CEO, not a victim, not a portfolio. She shook her head. Just a person. Marcus glanced at Zara, still sleeping at the counter. I need to get her home. I know. Eleanor pulled something from a drawer, a business card. Call me. Tomorrow. Please. Why? Because I don't know what happens next. I've never not known what happens next. She pressed the card into his hand. But I want to find out. With you. Marcus looked at the card. Eleanor Chase, CEO, Chase Industries. I work construction, he said. I make $18 an hour. I live in a 2-bedroom apartment on the south side. I drive a truck that's older than my daughter. And you live in a penthouse. You run a company. You probably make more in a day than I make in a year. So? So what could someone like you possibly want with someone like me? Eleanor stepped closer. Someone like me spent 23 years drowning in boardrooms and nobody noticed. Tonight, someone like you jumped into freezing water to save a stranger. Someone like you didn't look away when I showed you my scars. Someone like you talked to me like a human being instead of an asset or a liability. She held his gaze. I don't care what you make, Marcus. I care what you see. And tonight, you saw me, the real me, and you stayed. Marcus's heart was pounding. He could smell her shampoo, something expensive, floral, mixed with the lingering scent of river water. I'll call you, he said. Tomorrow? Tomorrow. He gathered Zara in his arms. She stirred, mumbled something about angels, then settled against his shoulder. At the elevator, Eleanor stopped him. Your shirt. She was still wearing his flannel, the blue one with the buttons. Keep it, Marcus said. You need it more than I do. The elevator doors closed on her face. She was clutching the flannel to her chest like it was worth more than everything else in that penthouse. Mrs. Chen was waiting. Lord have mercy, Marcus Thompson. What happened to you? Long story. It's after 9 o'clock. Zara has school tomorrow. I know. He shifted his sleeping daughter in his arms. Something came up. Mrs. Chen's eyes narrowed. She'd known Marcus since he was a boy, had watched him grow up, get married, lose his wife. Nothing got past her. Something came up, or someone came up. Good night, Mrs. Chen. Mm-hmm. He put Zara to bed, tucked the blanket under her chin, kissed her forehead. Daddy? Yeah, baby? Is the river lady going to be okay? I hope so. I liked her. You met her for an hour. Sometimes that's enough. Zara's eyes were already closing. Mommy always said, you know good people right away. Your heart tells you. Marcus couldn't speak. My heart says she's good people, Daddy. Go to sleep, baby. He sat in the dark living room for a long time. The business card sat on the coffee table. Eleanor Chase, CEO. Would you stay if I undressed everything? He thought about scars. The ones you could see and the ones you couldn't. The ones that marked your skin and the ones that marked your soul. He thought about his wife, who'd been fine at breakfast and dead by dinner. About his daughter, who'd sat next to a corpse for an hour because she didn't understand that Mommy wasn't sleeping. He thought about a woman in a penthouse, surrounded by millions of dollars worth of things, who was more alone than anyone he'd ever met. His phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Thank you for staying. Then, a moment later, your shirt smells like sawdust. I'm not giving it back. Marcus smiled. The first real smile in a very long time. He typed back, keep it. Looks better on you anyway. 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. Tomorrow. Java House on 5th Street. Noon. I'll be there. He set the phone down and stared at the ceiling. 2 years of drowning in grief. Tonight, someone had pulled him out, too. Marcus didn't sleep. At 3 a.m., he stood at Zara's door, watching her breathe. She clutched the stuffed rabbit Keisha had given her, the one that was falling apart, but she refused to let him replace. I miss you, he whispered to the dark. Every day I miss you. He wasn't talking to Zara. Something happened tonight. I don't know what it means yet, but it felt like waking up. For the first time in 2 years. Silence. The hum of the refrigerator. A car passing outside. Is that okay? Is it okay to wake up? No answer came. But standing there in the dark, watching his daughter sleep, Marcus felt something shift in his chest. Something that had been frozen for 2 years, starting to thaw. Morning arrived, gray and cold. Zara wanted pancakes. Marcus made them, burned the first batch, nailed the second. "Daddy, you're smiling." "Am I?" "You don't usually smile at breakfast." "Maybe I'm in a good mood." "Because of the river lady?" "Because of you, baby. Always because of you." "And maybe a little because of the river lady?" Marcus flipped a pancake. "Maybe a little." He walked Zara to school. At the gate, she turned and looked up at him with Keisha's eyes. "Daddy?" "Yeah?" "I think Mommy would want you to be happy." The words hit like a truck. "What makes you say that?" "Because she always said happy was the most important thing. Remember? She used to sing that song, 'If You're Happy and You Know It,' and she'd clap her hands and make me laugh." Marcus's vision blurred. "I remember." "So if the river lady makes you happy, I think that's okay." Zara hugged him quickly. "Bye, Daddy." She ran through the gates before he could respond. Marcus stood there for a long time, watching his daughter disappear into the building. Happy. He'd forgotten what that word meant. At 11:45, Marcus stood outside Java House on 5th Street. He changed his clothes 3 times. Ended up in jeans and a clean work shirt, the best he had. Through the window, he could see Eleanor already inside. She'd taken a corner booth facing the door, watching for him. She was wearing his flannel. Marcus pushed open the door. Eleanor looked up and smiled. Eleanor stood when he reached the table. For a moment, neither of them spoke. She was wearing his flannel over a white t-shirt, sleeves rolled to her elbows. No jewelry, no makeup. She looked nothing like the CEO he'd pulled from the river. She looked human. "You came," she said. "Said I would." "People say a lot of things." Marcus slid into the booth across from her. A waitress appeared, and he ordered black coffee. Eleanor already had tea. "You're wearing my shirt." "I told you I wasn't giving it back." "Looks better on you anyway." She smiled. It transformed her face, softened the sharp edges. "How's Zara?" "Good. She told me this morning that her mommy would want me to be happy." Eleanor's smile faded. That's a lot of wisdom for a 7-year-old. She's got her mother's heart." The coffee arrived. Marcus wrapped his hands around the mug, feeling its warmth. "So," he said, "what happens now?" "I don't know." Eleanor leaned back. "I've been awake all night trying to figure that out. I run a company worth $2 billion. I make decisions that affect thousands of people. But sitting here with you, I have no idea what I'm doing." "That makes 2 of us." "Does it scare you?" "Does what scare me?" "This. Whatever this is." Marcus took a sip of coffee. Hot, bitter, grounding. "Lady, I've been scared every day for 2 years. Scared I'll mess up my daughter. Scared I'll forget what my wife's voice sounded like. Scared I'll wake up one day and realize I've been living on autopilot." He set the mug down. "Sitting in a coffee shop with a beautiful woman? That's the least scary thing that's happened to me in a long time." Eleanor's cheeks flushed. "You think I'm beautiful?" "I think you're a lot of things." "Like what?" "Complicated, hurt, strong as hell." He held her gaze. "And yeah, beautiful. Even when you were drowning." She laughed, that surprised, genuine laugh from last night. Most people see the CEO first, the money, the power. Most people didn't pull you out of a river. "No," her voice softened. "They didn't." They talked for 2 hours. Eleanor told him about building Chase Industries from her father's failing construction supply company, How she'd taken over at 26 when her parents decided to retire. Her mother's health declining, her father unable to look at her without seeing the fire. How she'd worked 18-hour days for a decade, turning a regional supplier into a national corporation. I thought if I was successful enough, powerful enough, it would fill the hole, she said. The one the fire burned into me. Did it? What do you think? Marcus thought about his own hole, the Keisha-shaped void in his chest that nothing could fill. I think holes don't work that way. No, they don't. He told her about Keisha, how they'd met in high school, dated through his construction apprenticeship, married at 22. How she'd been the smart one, college degree, plans for law school, but put it all on hold when she got pregnant. She never complained, Marcus said. Not once. Just said we'd figure it out together. And we did. Until we didn't. The aneurysm. Yeah, brain just quit. No warning, no symptoms. She was 34 years old and perfectly healthy. And then she wasn't. I'm sorry. Me too. Every damn day. Eleanor reached across the table. Her fingers brushed his knuckles. Can I ask you something? Go ahead. Last night, when you jumped in that river, what were you thinking? I wasn't. Nothing? I saw someone drowning. I jumped. That's it. But you had Zara. You could have... No. Marcus's voice was firm. I couldn't have. That's not who I am. Who are you? I don't know anymore. But I know I'm not the guy who watches someone die because it's inconvenient to help. Eleanor's fingers curled around his. Most people are that guy. Most people haven't lost everything. When you've already been through the worst, what's a little cold water? Her grip tightened. I want to see you again, she said. You're seeing me now. I mean, really see you. Dinner, at my place, you and Zara. That's moving fast. I know. She didn't look away. I've spent 23 years moving slow, being careful, protecting myself. Look where it got me. In a river. In a river. Alone. Drowning in more ways than one. She leaned forward. I don't want to be careful anymore, Marcus. I want to live. His heart was pounding. This woman, this CEO, this survivor, this beautiful disaster, was asking him to take a chance. Keisha would have told him to run. Or would she? If you're happy and you know it. Tomorrow night, he said. 7 o'clock. Eleanor's face lit up. Really? Really. But I'm warning you. Zara's going to ask a million questions. I can handle questions. She's going to want to see where the river lady lives. I'll give her the full tour. She might never want to leave. Then she doesn't have to. Marcus blinked. That was a joke, right? Eleanor's smile faltered. I don't know. Maybe. Maybe not. They stared at each other. I should go, Marcus said finally. I've got work this afternoon. Construction? Yeah, office building downtown. Concrete pour. Which building? The new one on 3rd. The Paramount. Eleanor's expression changed. That's one of mine. What? Chase Industries is the primary material supplier for the Paramount project. Marcus sat back. You're kidding. I'm not, she laughed. You've probably been using Chase Steel and Chase Concrete for years. So technically, you're my boss. Technically, I'm your boss's supplier's boss. That's a lot of bosses. Does it bother you? Marcus thought about it. The power imbalance. The money. The fact that this woman could buy and sell everything he owned 1,000 times over. Ask me tomorrow. Why tomorrow? Because right now, I just want to be the guy who saved you, not the guy who works for a company that buys your concrete. Eleanor nodded slowly. Tomorrow, then. She walked him out. Standing on the sidewalk, in the cold October sunlight, they faced each other, like two people standing at the edge of a cliff. "Thank you," Eleanor said, "for coming." "Thank you for asking." "Marcus?" "Yeah?" "I'm scared too, just so you know." He reached out and tucked a strand of hair behind her ear. She shivered at his touch, and it wasn't from the cold. "Good," he said. "Means we're doing something right." He walked away without looking back. If he looked back, he'd stay, and he had concrete to pour. But halfway down the block, his phone buzzed. "Tomorrow, 7 p.m. Don't be late." Then, a second later, "And Marcus, thank you for not looking back. I'm not sure I could have let you go if you had." He smiled all the way to work. The concrete pour went smoothly. Marcus worked alongside his crew. Luis, a 50-year-old former Marine. Deshawn, a kid fresh out of trade school. And Pete, who'd been doing this for 30 years and had stories about every building in Ravenport. "You're in a good mood," Luis observed. "Am I?" "You've been humming." "Have I?" "Since you got here. What's her name?" Marcus's trowel slipped. "What makes you think?" "Brother, I've been married 28 years. I know what a man looks like when a woman's got him spinning." Luis grinned. "So, name?" "Eleanor." "Pretty name. She pretty?" "Yeah." "She know you're ugly?" "Apparently she doesn't mind." Luis laughed and slapped him on the back. "Good for you, man. It's about time." "It's been 2 years." "That's what I said, about time." Deshawn looked over. "Wait, Marcus has a girlfriend? Since when?" "Since none of your business," Marcus said. "Ooh, he's defensive. Must be serious." "Get back to work." "Yes, sir." Deshawn grinned. "Hey, Luis, you think she's rich?" Marcus has that look like he's about to level up. Marcus threw a glove at him. The afternoon passed quickly. By 5 o'clock the pour was done and the crew was cleaning up. Marcus checked his phone. 3 messages from Zara's school about a bake sale, 1 from Mrs. Chen about dinner, and nothing from Eleanor. He wasn't disappointed. He was. His phone buzzed. "I can't stop thinking about tomorrow." Then, "Is that crazy?" Marcus typed back, "Probably, but I can't stop either." 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Good. Crazy is good. He was still smiling when he picked up Zara from after-school care. "Daddy, you're doing it again." "Doing what?" "Smiling for no reason." "Maybe I just like picking you up." "You pick me up every day. You don't usually smile like that." "Like what?" "Like you swallowed something funny." Marcus laughed. "Come on, silly girl. Let's go home." They walked to the truck, Zara chattering about her day, a spelling test she aced, a boy named Tyler who picked his nose during math, and Emma, her best friend, same name as her mother, who shared her cookies at lunch. "Daddy?" "Yeah?" "Are we going to see the river lady again?" "Her name's Eleanor, and yes, tomorrow night." Zara's face lit up. "Really? We're going to her tall building?" "Yep." "Can I wear my fancy dress? The purple one Mommy bought me?" Marcus's throat tightened. The purple dress. Keisha had bought it 3 weeks before she died. Zara wore it only on special occasions. "If you want to." "I want to. I want Eleanor to see me looking pretty." "You always look pretty, baby. But extra pretty tomorrow." "Okay, extra pretty tomorrow." That night, after Zara was asleep, Marcus sat in the dark living room with a beer he wasn't really drinking. He was thinking about Keisha. About the last morning they'd had together. Nothing special. Coffee, toast, a kiss goodbye at the door. He'd said, "I love you," out of habit, and she'd said it back. And then he'd gone to work, and she'd stayed home, and sometime between breakfast and dinner, her brain had betrayed her. He didn't even get to say a real goodbye. "I met someone," he whispered to the empty room. "I don't know what it means yet. I don't know if it'll go anywhere. But she asked me to stay, and I said yes." Silence. "Is that okay, Quiche? Is it okay to want something again?" The silence stretched. Then, soft as a breath, the heating vent clicked on. Warm air filled the room. Marcus chose to take it as a yes. The next evening, Zara stood in front of the mirror in her purple dress, turning from side to side. "Do I look like a princess?" "You look like yourself," Marcus said. "Which is better?" "Daddy, that doesn't make sense." "Sure it does. Princesses have to follow rules and marry princes and live in cold castles. You get to do whatever you want." Zara considered this. "Okay, that does sound better." They took the truck downtown. Zara pressed her nose to the window as the high tower building came into view. "It's so tall, Daddy." 43 floors. "What if the elevator breaks?" "Then we take the stairs." "That's a lot of stairs." "Good thing you've got strong legs." The doorman, Gerald, the one who'd looked at Marcus like he was tracking mud onto sacred ground, opened the door with a different expression tonight. Something closer to respect. "Mr. Thompson." "Miss Thompson, Miss Chase is expecting you." "Thanks, Gerald." The elevator rose. Zara clutched Marcus's hand. "My ears feel funny." "That's the pressure changing. Swallow a few times." She swallowed dramatically, making loud gulping sounds, and Marcus laughed. The doors opened. Eleanor stood waiting. She was wearing a simple black dress, her hair down around her shoulders. Marcus had never seen her with her hair down. It made her look softer, younger. "You came," she said. "You keep saying that like you expect me not to." "Maybe I do." Zara stepped forward, her purple dress swishing. "Hi, Eleanor. I'm Zara. We met when you almost drowned. Do you remember?" Eleanor's face transformed. "I remember. You asked if I was an angel. Daddy said you weren't, but I think maybe you are." "Why's that?" "Because angels watch over people. And ever since you came, Daddy smiles more. So maybe you're watching over him." Marcus's heart stopped. Eleanor's eyes glistened. She knelt down to Zara's level. "That's a beautiful dress." "My mommy bought it. She's in heaven now." "I know. Your daddy told me." "Are you going to be Daddy's friend?" "I hope so." "Good friends or special friends?" Marcus cleared his throat. "Zara." "It's okay," Eleanor said. She met Zara's eyes. "I'm not sure yet, but I'd like to find out." Zara nodded seriously. "That's a good answer. Mommy always said, honest is the best." "Your mommy was right." "I know." Zara looked around the penthouse. "This place is really big. Don't you get lonely?" Eleanor's composure flickered. "Sometimes." "You should get a dog. Dogs help with lonely." "Maybe I will." "Can I see your kitchen? Daddy said you might make dinner." "I did make dinner. Spaghetti. Is that okay?" Zara's face lit up. "Spaghetti's my favorite." They ate at Eleanor's dining table, a glass surface that probably cost more than Marcus's truck. Zara talked nonstop, telling Eleanor about school, about Emma, about the time she tried to adopt a stray cat, and Daddy said no because the building didn't allow pets. "But if I lived here," Zara said, twirling spaghetti on her fork. I could have all the cats I wanted. Zara, Marcus warned. What? I'm just saying. Eleanor laughed. You could have one cat, maybe two. More than that, and they start fighting. How do you know? I had cats growing up, before the fire. Zara's fork stopped mid-twirl. What fire? Eleanor glanced at Marcus. He gave a small nod. When I was your age, Eleanor said carefully, my house caught fire. I got hurt. That's why I have scars. Can I see them? Zara, that's not... It's okay. Eleanor pushed up her sleeve, revealing the edge of scarred tissue on her forearm. The rest are under my clothes. Zara looked at the scars with serious eyes. Does it hurt? Not me more. It did for a long time. My mommy had a scar on her knee from when she fell off her bike when she was little. She said, scars are just stories your body tells. Eleanor's breath caught. That's beautiful. Mommy was really smart. Zara went back to her spaghetti. I bet she would have liked you. The silence that followed was thick with emotion. Marcus reached across the table and took Eleanor's hand. Breathe, he said quietly. I'm trying. After dinner, Zara explored the penthouse while Marcus and Eleanor washed dishes. Side by side at the sink, their shoulders brushing. She's incredible, Eleanor said. She's everything. You're a good father. I'm trying. That's more than most people do. Eleanor handed him a plate to dry. Their fingers touched on the wet ceramic. I need to tell you something, she said. Okay. I talked to my lawyer today, about last night, about the article. Marcus frowned. What article? Eleanor went still. You don't know. Know what? She dried her hands slowly, set the towel down, turned to face him. Someone leaked my medical records to the press. Old photos from when I was in the burn unit. The surgeries. Everything. Her voice was steady, but her hands trembled. It's going to run next week in the Ravenport Business Review. Who would do that? I have a pretty good idea. Who? His name is Victor Cole, VP of Finance. He's been angling for my job for years, thinks I'm too damaged to lead. She laughed bitterly. He might be right. He's wrong. You don't know that. I know exactly that. Marcus stepped closer. Eleanor, look at me. She looked. I've been watching you for 2 days. The way you talk, the way you move, the way you think. You're not damaged. You're a survivor. There's a difference. The board won't see it that way. Then the board is blind. They're going to call an emergency meeting. They're going to ask me to step down. Are you going to? Eleanor's jaw tightened. No. Good. But I need you to understand something. She took his hands. When this article comes out, everyone's going to know about my scars, about my past, and anyone associated with me is going to be scrutinized. If we keep seeing each other, they'll drag me into it. Yes. And Zara? Possibly. Marcus pulled his hands back, not in anger, in thought. You're warning me. I'm giving you an out, a chance to walk away before it gets complicated. It's already complicated. It's going to get worse. Marcus looked across the penthouse to where Zara was examining a sculpture, her purple dress bright against the white walls. My wife died without warning, he said slowly. One morning she was alive, that night she wasn't. I didn't get to choose whether to walk away. The choice was made for me. He turned back to Eleanor. You're giving me a choice, a real one, and I'm telling you right now, I'm not walking away. Marcus, I'm not finished. He stepped closer. I don't care about articles. I don't care about boards or business reviews or whatever Victor Cole thinks he's going to accomplish. You asked me if I'd stay when I saw who you really were. This is who you are. Someone who fights, someone who survives, someone who gives people outs even when it costs her everything. His voice dropped. I'm staying, Eleanor. Not because I have to. Because I want to. She kissed him. The kiss was soft at first, tentative. Two wounded people testing whether they could handle the contact. Then it deepened. Marcus's hand found the small of her back. Eleanor's fingers curled into his shirt. For a moment, the world disappeared. The penthouse, the article, Victor Cole, everything. And there was only this. Two survivors finding each other in the wreckage. Daddy? They broke apart. Zara stood in the doorway, eyes wide.
Were you kissing?
Marcus's face heated. Zara, it's okay. Zara walked forward, looking between them. I saw Emma's parents kissing once. Emma said that means they love each other. Sweetheart, it's not... Do you love Eleanor? The question hung in the air. Marcus looked at Eleanor. She looked back, just as uncertain. I don't know yet, he said honestly. But I like her a lot. Is that okay? Zara considered this. Then she walked to Eleanor and took her hand. I think it's okay, she said. But you have to promise something. What's that? Eleanor asked. You have to promise not to disappear, like Mommy did. Eleanor's face crumpled. She knelt down, putting herself at Zara's level. I can't promise I'll never die, sweetheart. Nobody can promise that. Then what can you promise? Eleanor took a breath. I can promise that I'll try. I'll try to be here. I'll try to be careful. I'll try to stay as long as I can. Zara studied her face. Okay, she said finally.
That's a good promise. She hugged Eleanor fiercely.
Over Zara's shoulder, Eleanor met Marcus's eyes. Help, she mouthed. He smiled. You're doing fine. That night, Marcus carried Zara to the truck. She'd fallen asleep on Eleanor's couch watching a movie. Eleanor walked them to the elevator. Tomorrow, she said. What about tomorrow? The article. I'm going to try to stop it. Meet with my lawyers. But if it runs, then it runs, and we deal with it. We? We. She kissed him again, softer this time. Thank you, Marcus. For what? For staying. The elevator doors closed. Marcus held his sleeping daughter and watched Eleanor's face disappear. But this time, she was smiling. The next morning, Marcus's phone rang at 6 a.m. Eleanor's voice was ice. The article dropped early. They published it online an hour ago. What does it say? Everything. Photos from the burn unit, quotes from anonymous sources about my psychological stability, questions about whether Chase Industries should have a CEO who's this damaged. What do you need? A pause. I need you to turn on the news. Marcus grabbed the remote. Channel 7, local news. Eleanor's face filled the screen. Controversy this morning surrounding Eleanor Chase, CEO of Chase Industries, as disturbing photos from her childhood surfaced online. The images, reportedly from her time in a burn unit following a house fire at age 7, have raised questions about... Marcus muted the TV. I'm coming over. No, I need you to stay with Zara. Get her to school. Act normal. Eleanor. There's going to be a board meeting at 9 a.m. I have to face them. But I need to know you're safe, that Zara's safe. Her voice cracked. Can you do that for me? Yes. Thank you. Eleanor? Yes? Don't let them win. Silence. Then, quietly, "I don't intend to." She hung up. Marcus stared at the phone in his hand. The battle was just beginning. Marcus dropped Zara at school with a knot in his stomach. "Daddy, you're squeezing too hard." "Sorry, baby." He loosened his hug. "Have a good day, okay?" "Is something wrong?" "Nothing you need to worry about." Zara's eyes narrowed. Keisha's eyes, always seeing too much. "Is it about Eleanor?" "Go to class, sweetheart." "You're not answering." "I'll pick you up at 3. We'll get ice cream." "Ice cream on a Wednesday?" Zara's suspicion deepened. Something's definitely wrong. Marcus kissed her forehead. "I love you. Now go learn something." He watched her disappear through the gates, then sat in his truck and pulled out his phone. The article was everywhere. Every local news site, social media exploding. Photos of Eleanor as a child, bandaged, burned, broken, plastered across the internet like some kind of sick entertainment. His phone buzzed. "Luis, you seeing this? About that Chase woman?" Marcus typed back. "Yeah, messed up, man."
Who does that to somebody?
"Someone who wants her gone." "You know her or something?" Marcus stared at the question. "Yeah, I know her." 3 dots, then, "No kidding. The CEO? How?" "Long story. Talk later." He drove to the construction site because he didn't know what else to do. Eleanor had told him to stay away, to keep things normal. But normal felt impossible when the woman he'd kissed last night was being torn apart on every screen in the city. The crew was gathered around Deshawn's phone when Marcus arrived. "Man, look at these pictures. Poor woman looked like—" "Turn it off." Everyone looked up. "I said turn it off." Deshawn's eyes went wide. "Marcus, chill, we're just—" "That woman almost died 2 days ago. She spent 4 months in a burn unit when she was 7 years old. And you're standing here looking at her trauma like it's a YouTube video." Marcus's voice was shaking. "Turn it off or I'll break the phone myself." Silence. Luis stepped forward. "You heard him. Back to work, all of you." The crew scattered. Deshawn shoved his phone in his pocket, shooting Marcus a wounded look. Luis waited until they were alone. "You want to tell me what that was about?" Marcus gripped a support beam, steadying himself. "I pulled her out of the river, Luis, night before last. She was drowning in the Alder, and I jumped in and saved her." Luis let out a low whistle. "Eleanor Chase, the CEO." "Yeah. And now?" "Now I don't know. She's in a board meeting fighting for her job while the whole city looks at pictures of her as a burned 7-year-old. Marcus's jaw tightened. Someone did this to her on purpose. Someone who wants her destroyed. "What are you going to do?" "She told me to stay away, keep my distance, protect Zara." "But—" Marcus looked at his hands, calloused, rough, working man's hands. "But I don't know if I can." His phone rang. Unknown number. "Hello?" "Is this Marcus Thompson?" A woman's voice, professional, cold. "Who's asking?" "My name is Sandra Wells. I'm a reporter with the Ravenport Business Review. I understand you were seen leaving the Hightower building last night with a child. Can you confirm your relationship with Eleanor Chase?" Marcus's blood went cold. "No comment." "Mr. Thompson, the public has a right to know—" He hung up. "Luis, I gotta go." "Go. I'll cover for you." Marcus was halfway to his truck when his phone rang again. Same reporter. He declined the call. It rang again. Different number this time. Then a text from a number he didn't recognize. Marcus Thompson, 34, single father, construction worker. Daughter Zara, age 7, attends Riverside Elementary. Current address, 412 Maple Street, apartment 3B. How much do you want for an exclusive interview about your relationship with Eleanor Chase? His hands were shaking. They knew his address. They knew Zara's school. He called Eleanor, straight to voicemail. Eleanor, they found me. Reporters. They know where I live, where Zara goes to school. Call me back. He hung up and called Mrs. Chen. Marcus, it's 9 in the morning. What's wrong? I need you to pick up Zara from school at 3. Don't take her home. Take her to your sister's place in Brookdale. What's happening? I'll explain later. Please, Mrs. Chen, just do this for me. A pause. You're scaring me, honey. I'm scaring myself. Will you do it? Of course, but Marcus... Thank you. I'll call you tonight. He drove downtown. The high-tower building loomed ahead, its glass facade reflecting the morning sun. Marcus parked in a loading zone and ran for the entrance. Gerald stopped him at the door. Mr. Thompson, I can't let you up. I need to see her. Mrs. Chase is in a board meeting. No visitors. Gerald, please. There are reporters calling me, texting me. They know where my daughter goes to school. Gerald's face softened. I'm sorry, I truly am, but I have orders. From who? From Miss Chase herself. She said if you came, I should tell you to go home and wait. I can't just... She said you'd say that. Gerald lowered his voice. She also said to tell you, trust her. She's handling it. Marcus stood in the lobby, fists clenched. How long has the meeting been going? 2 hours. 2 hours? It's contentious from what I hear. Marcus paced, checked his phone. No messages. Gerald, if anything changes, I'll call you personally. I have your number from the visitor log. Thank you. Marcus walked back to his truck, sat behind the wheel, waited. His phone buzzed. Text from an unknown number. $50,000 for photos of you and Eleanor together. Easy money. He deleted it. Another text. Is Eleanor Chase mentally stable enough to run a company? Sources say no. Comment? Deleted. Another. Your daughter is adorable. She looks just like you. It would be a shame if her picture ended up in the news. Marcus's vision went red. He typed back, if you come near my daughter, I will find you. The response came immediately. Threatening a journalist? That's a story by itself. Marcus threw his phone onto the passenger seat. His hands were shaking too hard to drive. Eleanor called at noon. Marcus, are you okay? I'm fine. The meeting just ended. What happened? A pause, long enough that Marcus's heart stopped. I'm still CEO. He exhaled. Thank God. It was close. Victor made his case, showed the board all the articles, all the social media reactions, said I was a liability, a distraction, that the company couldn't afford to have a CEO whose childhood trauma was trending on Twitter. What did you say? I showed them our Q4 earnings, our growth projections, the contracts I've secured over the past 6 months. Her voice hardened. And then I showed them something else. What? Emails between Victor and the journalist who wrote the article, proving he leaked my medical records. You have proof? My head of security spent all night finding it. Victor made the mistake of using his company email for some of the coordination. Idiot. What happens to him? He's being escorted out of the building as we speak. I'm pressing charges for violation of medical privacy. His career is over. Marcus leaned back in his seat. You did it. We did it. I couldn't have faced them if I didn't know you were out there somewhere, waiting for me. I tried to come up. Gerald stopped me. I know. He told me. I'm sorry I couldn't see you, But I needed to do this alone. I needed them to see me standing on my own 2 feet. I understand. There's something else. What? The reporters found you. Yeah, I noticed. They're going to keep digging. They're going to find out about us, about Zara. It's going to get worse before it gets better. I can handle worse. Can Zara? The question hit like a punch. I sent her to Mrs. Chen's sister, out of town. Just for a few days. That's probably wise. Eleanor, what are we going to do? Silence. Then, I have an idea, but you're not going to like it. Tell me. We go public, on our terms, before they can twist the story. Go public how? An interview, together. We tell our story, the river, the rescue, how we met. We control the narrative instead of letting them control it. Marcus closed his eyes. You want me to go on TV. I want us to go on TV, together. Show them that this isn't a scandal. It's a love story. We've known each other for 3 days. I know. This is insane. I know that too. Eleanor, you don't have to decide right now. Just think about it. Meet me tonight. We'll talk. Where? The river, where you pulled me out, 7 p.m. Why there? Because that's where this started, and I want to remember why it matters. She hung up. Marcus sat in his truck for a long time, staring at nothing. Then he called Mrs. Chen. Is Zara safe? She's fine, playing with my sister's cat, asking when you're coming. Tell her I love her. Tell her Daddy's taking care of something important. Marcus, what's going on? I'll explain everything, I promise. Just keep her safe. You know I will. Thank you, Mrs. Chen, for everything. Don't thank me yet. You still owe me an explanation. He hung up and drove. Not home. Not to the construction site. To the cemetery. Keisha's grave was on a hill overlooking the city. Marcus had chosen the spot because she'd always loved the view from high places. Said it made her feel like she could see the whole world. He sat on the grass beside her headstone. Hey, Keish. The wind rustled through the trees. I know I haven't been here in a while. Things got complicated. He pulled at the grass, tearing small pieces and letting them fall. I met someone. Her name's Eleanor. She's something else. Rich. Powerful. Scarred in ways you can't see. In some ways you can. She asked me to stay, and I said yes, and now the whole world's falling apart around us. He looked at the headstone. Keisha Marie Thompson, beloved wife and mother, gone too soon. I don't know if I'm doing the right thing. I don't know if it's too fast or too crazy or too much. But when I'm with her, I feel something I haven't felt since you died. His voice cracked. I feel alive, Keish. For the first time in 2 years, I feel like there's a reason to wake up that isn't just obligation. And I know Zara's that reason too. She's always been that reason. But Eleanor's something different. Something for me. The wind picked up. Is that okay? Am I allowed to have something for me? No answer, just the rustle of leaves. Zara says you'd want me to be happy. She's got your heart, you know. Sees things nobody else sees. Says things that stop me in my tracks. Marcus wiped his eyes. I'm scared, Keisha. I'm scared of loving someone and losing them again. I'm scared of dragging Zara into something messy. I'm scared of going on TV and having the whole world pick apart my life. He stood, pressed his hand to the cold stone. But I'm more scared of spending the rest of my life alone. Of teaching Zara that love is something you only get once. Of watching her grow up thinking her daddy gave up after you died. He kissed his fingers and pressed them to her name. I think I'm going to do it, Quiche. I think I'm going to jump again. At 7 p.m., Marcus stood at the spot where he'd pulled Eleanor from the water. The Alder River ran black in the fading light. October cold bit through his jacket. He could see his breath misting in the air. Footsteps behind him. He turned. Eleanor walked toward him, wrapped in the coat he recognized. His flannel, layered under expensive wool. You're still wearing it. I told you I wasn't giving it back. They stood together, looking at the water.
This is where I died, Eleanor said quietly. You didn't die. Part of me did. The part that believed nobody would ever come for me. She turned to face him. And then you jumped in. I just did what anyone would do. No, you didn't. She stepped closer. I've been surrounded by people my whole life, Marcus. Employees, board members, assistants, investors. Not one of them would have jumped into a freezing river for me. Not one. They don't know you like I do. You've known me for 3 days. Sometimes that's enough. She laughed, that surprised, genuine laugh he was starting to love. Zara said almost the same thing to me last night. She's smarter than both of us. She really is. Eleanor reached out and took his hand. Her fingers were cold. I need to know your answer, she said. About the interview. I thought about it. And? Marcus looked at the river, at the spot where he'd fought the current, where he'd felt Eleanor's pulse under his fingers, weak but alive. When I jumped in that water, I didn't think about what came next. I just moved, because someone needed help, and I could give it. And now? Now someone needs me to stand beside her and tell the world our story. He met her eyes. How is that any different? Eleanor's breath caught. You're saying yes? I'm saying I'll jump. Same as before. She kissed him, hard, desperate. Her cold hands on his face, his arms wrapping around her. Two people holding on to each other like the current might pull them under again. When they broke apart, she was crying. I don't deserve you. That's not for you to decide. Marcus. You asked me to stay. I'm staying. That's it. She pressed her forehead to his. Victor called me damaged. Said I was too broken to lead. Said nobody would want a CEO with scars like mine. Victor's an idiot who's about to learn what happens when you mess with someone I care about. Someone you care about? Don't make me say more than that. It's only been 3 days. She laughed through her tears. Okay, 3 days. That's fair. They stood together as darkness fell. The river rushed past, cold and indifferent, carrying the memory of what had almost been toward the sea. The interview, Eleanor said. It's scheduled for Friday. National morning show. They wanted the exclusive, and I gave it to them on the condition that we tell the whole story, start to finish. That's 2 days. I know. What do I need to do? Be yourself. Tell the truth. Let them see what I see. What do you see? Eleanor pulled back to look at him. I see a man who jumped into a freezing river for a stranger, who sat with a burned woman and didn't look away, who brought his daughter to dinner and let her ask hard questions. Her voice softened. I see someone who knows what it's like to carry scars and still keep going. My scars aren't visible. The worst ones never are. Marcus thought about Keisha's grave, about the words he'd said to her headstone. After my wife died, I forgot how to hope. I went through the motions, work, Zara, sleep, repeat. But I wasn't really living, just surviving. I know that feeling. Then I pulled you out of that river, and something changed. Like waking up from a dream I didn't know I was having. What kind of dream? The kind where you're always running, but never getting anywhere. The kind where you scream,
but no sound comes out. He took her hands. "You woke me up, Eleanor. I don't know what that means yet, but I know I don't want to go back to sleep." She squeezed his fingers. "Then let's stay awake. Together." Friday came faster than Marcus expected. He spent Thursday with Zara, who'd come back from Brookdale full of stories about Mrs. Chen's sister's cat. "His name is Whiskers, and he's really fat, and he sleeps all day, Daddy. Can we get a fat cat?"
He told her about the interview, explained that people might ask questions, might take pictures, might say things that weren't true. Why would they say things that aren't true? Because sometimes people want to hurt other people. That's mean. It is. Are they trying to hurt Eleanor? Yes. Zara's face hardened in a way that reminded him painfully of Keisha. Then we have to help her. That's what the interview is for. Can I come? You're going to be in school. But I want to help. Marcus knelt down. You already helped, baby. You helped just by being you. By asking Eleanor hard questions and accepting her answers. By telling her about Mommy. His voice caught. You helped me remember that it's okay to care about someone new. Zara hugged him fiercely. I want Eleanor to stay. Me too, baby. Do you love her? The question again. I'm not sure yet, but I think I might. Someday. Zara nodded seriously. That's a good answer. Friday morning, Marcus put on his best shirt and drove to the television studio. Eleanor was already there, surrounded by makeup artists and producers and people with clipboards who all seemed to be talking at once. When she saw him, she pushed through the crowd. You came! Told you I would. I know, She exhaled. I'm terrified. Me too. Really? Really. She took his hand. Together? Together. They walked onto the set. The interview lasted 45 minutes. The host asked about the river, the rescue, how they met. Marcus told the story simply. The scream, the splash, the cold water, the woman who wasn't breathing. You didn't hesitate? The host asked. No, ma'am. Most people would. I'm not most people. Eleanor told her story too. The fire, the scars, 23 years of hiding. The article that exposed everything she'd tried to keep private. How did it feel when those photos were published? The host asked. Eleanor's jaw tightened. Like being burned all over again. And yet here you are, on national television, showing the world your scars. Because hiding didn't protect me. Hiding just made me easier to hurt. Eleanor looked at the camera. Victor Cole thought he could destroy me by showing people who I really am. But who I really am is a survivor, a fighter, someone who got through the worst night of her life and built something from the ashes. And Marcus? Where does he fit into all this? Eleanor turned to look at him. Something in her eyes softened. He jumped. Excuse me? When I was drowning, literally and figuratively, Marcus jumped. He didn't know me, didn't owe me anything, had his daughter waiting on the riverbank, but he jumped anyway. She took Marcus's hand on camera. That's who he is, someone who jumps. The host smiled. Marcus, what do you say to people who claim this is all some kind of publicity stunt? Marcus felt the cameras on him. Millions of people watching. I'd say they've never pulled someone from a river, never held a woman while she cried about scars she's carried for 30 years, never watched their own daughter ask hard questions and get honest answers. He shook his head. This isn't a stunt. This is just two people who found each other when they needed it most. And what happens now? Marcus looked at Eleanor. Now we figure it out. Together.
The interview ended. The cameras stopped rolling. Eleanor turned to him, eyes bright. "You were amazing." I was terrified. "It didn't show." "Good." She kissed him, right there on the set, with producers and camera operators and makeup artists all watching. "Thank you," she whispered. "For what?" "For jumping. Again." They walked out of the studio together. Outside, a crowd had gathered. News cameras, reporters, people with phones held high. "Miss Chase, Mr. Thompson, over here!"
Eleanor, how do you respond to Victor Cole's statement that you're using this relationship to distract from questions about your leadership? Marcus, are you concerned about the difference in your backgrounds? Is this a real relationship or a business arrangement? Eleanor squeezed his hand. "I've got this," she said. She stepped forward. "I have one statement and then we're done. Victor Cole violated my privacy, leaked my medical records, and tried to use my childhood trauma to destroy my career. He failed. I'm still standing. I'm still CEO, and I'm pressing charges." She gestured to Marcus. "This man saved my life. Not because I'm rich, not because I'm a CEO, not because he had anything to gain. He saved me because that's who he is. And yes, we're together. Not for publicity, not for business, because he saw me, really saw me, and didn't run away." She met the cameras head on. "If that bothers you, that's your problem, not mine." They pushed through the crowd. A car was waiting. They climbed in, and the door closed on the chaos outside. Eleanor exhaled. "That was intense. That was incredible." She laughed, exhausted, relieved. "What happens now?" Marcus took her hand. "Now we go pick up Zara from school. We get ice cream. We go home." "Home?" "Your place, my place. Doesn't matter." He pulled her close. "Home is wherever you are." Eleanor's eyes filled. "Marcus Thompson, that's the most romantic thing anyone's ever said to me." "Yeah, well, don't get used to it." "Too late." The car pulled away from the studio, leaving the cameras and the chaos behind. Ahead of them, Zara, ice cream, and the rest of their lives. Behind them, a river, a rescue, and the question that started everything. Would you stay if I undressed everything? The answer, now and forever, was yes. 3 months passed like water through fingers. Marcus woke up on a Saturday morning in January to find Zara standing beside his bed, fully dressed, bouncing on her heels. "Daddy, Daddy, wake up!" "What time is it?" "Time to go to Eleanor's." Marcus groaned and checked his phone. 6:47 a.m. "Baby, we're not going until 10. "But I'm ready now." "I can see that." Zara was wearing her purple dress, the one Keisha had bought her. She'd started calling it her Eleanor dress because she wore it every time they visited the penthouse. "Can we bring her flowers? Emma's mom says you should always bring flowers when you visit someone special." "Is Eleanor special?" Zara gave him a look that said he was being ridiculous. "Obviously." Marcus sat up. "Okay, flowers. But first, breakfast." The past 3 months had been a whirlwind. After the interview aired, public opinion shifted dramatically. Victor Cole's charges made headlines. Violation of medical privacy, breach of fiduciary duty, and half a dozen other things Marcus didn't fully understand. The man who'd tried to destroy Eleanor was now fighting to stay out of prison. Chase Industries' stock had actually risen. Turned out people liked a CEO who fought back, who stood up on national television and said, "This is who I am. Take it or leave it." Several major contracts came through in the weeks following the interview, and Eleanor's board had gone from questioning her leadership to praising her authentic brand management. Marcus still didn't understand what that meant, but he understood the smile on Eleanor's face when she told him about it. That was enough. They'd settled into a routine.
Dinners at Eleanor's penthouse twice a week. Sunday brunches at Marcus's apartment, where Eleanor learned to make pancakes, badly, and Zara taught her how to build pillow forts, expertly.
Weekend trips to the park, where Eleanor, still nervous in crowds, slowly learned to relax.
The reporters eventually lost interest. New scandals emerged. The world moved on. But Marcus and Eleanor stayed.
Daddy, you're smiling at your phone again.
Am I?
You do that a lot now. Is it Eleanor?
He showed her the screen. A text from 20 minutes ago. Can't wait to see you both. Made waffles. Don't tell Zara. I want to surprise her.
Waffles! Zara shrieked. She made waffles! Daddy, we have to go now!
Breakfast first, then flowers, then waffles.
That's too much food.
You'll manage. They arrived at the Hightower building at 9:58 a.m. Zara sprinted through the lobby, waving at Gerald, who'd long since stopped looking at Marcus like an intruder. Good morning, Miss Zara, Mr. Thompson.
Hi, Gerald. Eleanor made waffles.
So I heard. She asked me to taste test this morning. They're excellent.
In the elevator, Zara clutched the bouquet of daisies they'd picked up at the corner store. She was practically vibrating with excitement.
Daddy? Yeah, baby?
Do you think Eleanor would ever live with us?
Marcus's heart skipped. What makes you ask that?
Because her place is really big and lonely, and our place is small but happy. Maybe if she lived with us, she wouldn't be lonely anymore.
That's a big question, sweetheart.
I know. That's why I'm asking you first, before I ask her.
The elevator doors opened. Eleanor stood waiting, wearing jeans and Marcus's flannel. She'd officially claimed it as hers, with flour dusted across her cheek. You're early. Zara couldn't wait.
Waffles!
Zara launched herself at Eleanor, who caught her with a laugh.
Gerald said they're excellent.
Gerald is a good taste tester. Eleanor looked at Marcus over Zara's head.
Hi.
Hi yourself. You've got flour on your face.
Do I?
She didn't move to wipe it away.
Must be from all the cooking I did. You mean from all the mess you made?
Same thing. Zara wiggled free and thrust the flowers forward.
These are for you. Daddy said you always bring flowers for someone special.
Eleanor's face softened.
They're beautiful. Thank you, sweetheart.
She glanced at Marcus.
Someone special, huh?
Don't let it go to your head.
Too late.
They ate waffles at Eleanor's kitchen island. Zara had syrup on her chin, her dress, and somehow in her hair. Eleanor pretended not to notice.
Eleanor, can I ask you something?
Of course.
Why don't you live with us?
Marcus choked on his coffee.
Zara. It's a fair question.
Eleanor set down her fork.
Your apartment is pretty small, sweetheart. I'm not sure there's room for me. We could make room. I could share my room. Or you could sleep with Daddy.
Marcus was going to have a heart attack.
That's very generous, Eleanor said carefully.
But grown-ups like to have their own space sometimes.
But you're lonely here. You told me.
I did tell you that.
And Daddy's lonely too. He tries to hide it, but I can tell. He talks to Mommy's picture when he thinks I'm asleep. Marcus's throat closed. Eleanor reached across the table and took Zara's hand.
Can I tell you a secret?
Zara nodded solemnly.
I've been thinking about the same thing. About maybe changing how things are. But it's a big decision, one that all three of us would need to make together. I already decided, Zara said. I want you to stay. Stay where? With us. Forever.
Eleanor's eyes glistened.
That's a long time. I know. That's why it's good.
Marcus found his voice. Zara, honey, This isn't something we can decide over breakfast.
Why not?
Because life is more complicated than that.
Why?
Because he struggled for words.
Because Eleanor has her company, and I have my job, and you have school, and we all have our own lives that we've been living. But our lives are better now.
Zara's voice was matter-of-fact. Before Eleanor, you were sad all the time. Now you smile. Before us, Eleanor was lonely. Now she makes waffles. She shrugged. That's simple, not complicated. Eleanor laughed, a wet, emotional sound. She's got us there. She's 7, and smarter than both of us. Later, while Zara built a pillow fort in the living room, Marcus and Eleanor stood at the kitchen window, looking out at the city.
She's not wrong, Eleanor said quietly.
About what?
About any of it. I am lonely here. You do smile more. Our lives are better.
She turned to face him.
I've been thinking about it for weeks. Didn't know how to bring it up. Eleanor, I'm not asking you to marry me. I know it's only been 3 months. But I'm asking if you've thought about it. About what comes next.
Marcus had thought about it. Late at night. In the shower. At work when he was supposed to be focused on concrete and steel. I've thought about it. And I'm scared. Of what? Of losing you. Like I lost Keisha. Of letting Zara get attached and then something going wrong. Something could always go wrong. That's not a reason to stop living.
I know, but it's hard to remember that when you've already been through the worst.
Eleanor took his hands.
You jumped into a freezing river for me. You stood on national television and held my hand while I showed the world my scars. You introduced me to your daughter and let her ask me hard questions.
Her voice dropped.
Why is this the thing that scares you?
Because this is the thing that matters. Eleanor's breath caught.
Marcus.
I'm not saying no. I'm saying I need time. I need to know this is real and not just two broken people clinging to each other.
Is that what you think we are? I don't know what we are. That's the problem.
Eleanor let go of his hands, stepped back.
Okay. 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 Take your time. I'm not going anywhere.
She tried to smile. I just told a 7-year-old I was thinking about forever. Hard to walk that back.
Eleanor, it's fine, really. I pushed too hard. I always push too hard. It's why I'm good at business and terrible at everything else.
You're not terrible.
At Waffles, maybe.
The waffles were good. The waffles were burnt on the bottom and you know it. Marcus laughed despite himself. A little burnt.
See? Terrible.
He pulled her into a hug. She resisted for a moment, then melted against him.
I'm not saying no, he repeated into her hair. I'm saying not yet.
That's the same thing.
It's really not.
From the living room, Zara's voice rang out.
The fort is ready. You guys have to come see.
Eleanor pulled back, wiping her eyes.
Duty calls.
Yeah.
They walked into the living room, where Zara had constructed an elaborate structure out of couch cushions, blankets, and what appeared to be several very expensive throw pillows.
Do you like it?
It's amazing, Eleanor said. It's a family fort. That means all 3 of us have to fit inside.
Marcus looked at the structure. It was barely big enough for Zara.
Baby, I don't think. We have to try. It's the rule.
So they tried. Marcus banged his elbow on the coffee table. Eleanor's knee ended up in his ribs. Zara squirmed between them, giggling uncontrollably.
See, Zara said triumphantly, we fit.
They didn't fit, not even close. But somehow, crushed together in a pile of pillows and blankets, Marcus felt more at home than he had in years.
Yeah, baby, he said. We fit.
2 weeks later, Marcus was working on the Paramount project when his phone rang. Eleanor. Middle of the day. Unusual. Everything okay?
Yes. No. I don't know.
Her voice was strange. Can you meet me? After work? Where? The river. Same spot.
Eleanor, what's going on? Just meet me, please. 7 o'clock.
She hung up before he could respond. Marcus spent the rest of the day distracted. Luis noticed. You all right, brother? Yeah, just thinking. About the CEO? About everything. At 6:45, Marcus parked by the Alder River. The sun was setting, painting the water in shades of orange and gold. So different from the black October night when he'd pulled Eleanor from its depths. She was already there, standing at the exact spot where he'd first touched her hand. You came. You asked. She turned to face him. Her eyes were red.
I need to tell you something.
Okay.
I talked to my brother today, David, the one who survived the fire without scars.
The one who doesn't talk to you.
Yeah, that one.
She took a shaky breath.
He called me. First time in 3 years. Said he saw the interview. Said he was proud of me.
That's good, right? I don't know. Maybe. It's complicated. She wrapped her arms around herself. He said something else, too. He said, he's sorry. For what? For pulling away. For not being able to look at me. For treating me like my scars were contagious. Her voice cracked. He said he was scared. That seeing me reminded him of that night. Of the fire. Of being the one who got out clean while his little sister burned. Marcus stepped closer. What did you say? I didn't say anything. I just cried. And then he cried. And then we both just sat there on the phone, crying, for like 20 minutes. She laughed wetly. My assistant must have thought I was having a breakdown. Were you? Maybe, a little. The good kind. There's a good kind? The kind where something that was broken starts to heal. She met his eyes. He wants to see me. Him and his wife and their kids. He wants to introduce me to my niece and nephew. They're 5 and 7. I've never met them. Eleanor, that's amazing. It's terrifying. Same thing sometimes. She laughed again, and this time it was closer to real. You know what I realized after I hung up the phone? What? I realized I wanted to tell you, before anyone else, before my assistant or my board or my therapist. I wanted to tell you. Why? Because you're the one who stays. You're the one who jumped. She stepped forward, closing the distance between them. And I realized something else, too. What? I don't want to wait anymore. I don't want to be careful or smart or strategic. I've spent my whole life being those things. And where did it get me? Drowning in a river with nobody to pull me out. Eleanor, I love you. Marcus's heart stopped. I know it's only been 3 months. I know you said you need time. I know this is crazy and fast and probably a terrible business decision. She was crying now. But I love you. And I love Zara. And I don't want to spend another day pretending I don't. Eleanor, you don't have to say it back. I'm not asking for that. I just needed you to know. Because life is short, and people die without warning, and I spent 8 minutes in a burning room when I was 7 years old. So I know that you don't get unlimited chances to tell people how you feel. She stopped, took a breath. So there it is. I love you. Do with that what you will. Marcus stood frozen. 3 months, 90-something days since he'd pulled her from this river. Since she'd asked him a question that changed everything. Would you stay if I undressed everything? He'd said yes, and he'd meant it. But this was different. This was real in a way that scared him, in a way that made him want to run and stay at the same time.
Say something,
Eleanor whispered.
please.
Marcus thought about Keisha, about the last time he'd said, "I love you," and meant it, about the way those words had felt in his mouth, like a promise he couldn't keep. He thought about Zara, about her purple dress and her hard questions, and the way she'd claimed Eleanor as hers without hesitation. He thought about the river, the cold, the terror. The moment his hand had closed around Eleanor's wrist, and he'd known that he wasn't going to let her go. "I visited Keisha's grave," he said slowly, "a few weeks after we met. I told her about you." Eleanor's breath caught.
What did you tell her?
That I met someone, that I didn't know what it meant, that I was scared. He paused. And that for the first time in 2 years, I felt alive.
Marcus.
I asked her if it was okay to love someone again, to let someone in. His voice cracked. She didn't answer. She couldn't. But I think she would have said yes.
You think?
I know, because Keisha was generous, with her love, with her heart, with everything she had.
She wouldn't have wanted me to spend the rest of my life alone. He stepped forward, took Eleanor's hands. I'm still scared. I'm still not sure I know how to do this. But I know I don't want to be without you. I know Zara doesn't want to be without you. And I know that when I pulled you out of this river, something changed in me that can't change back. Eleanor was crying. He was crying too. So, yeah, he said. I love you too. God help me, but I do. She kissed him, not gentle this time, desperate. The kind of kiss that said, I was drowning and you saved me. When they finally broke apart, the sun had set and the stars were emerging. What happens now? Eleanor asked. Marcus looked at the river, at the spot where everything had begun. Now we go home. Your place or mine? Doesn't matter, as long as we're together. They walked to their cars, hands intertwined. Hey, Eleanor? Yeah? You should call your brother back. Set up that visit. I was planning to. Why? Because family is important, even the complicated kind. He squeezed her hand, especially the complicated kind. She leaned her head against his shoulder. You're pretty smart for a construction worker. I have my moments. They drove home separately, but arrived together. Mrs. Chen met them at Marcus's door, Zara already in pajamas. You two look like you've been crying. Good crying, Marcus said. Is there such a thing? Yeah, there is. Mrs. Chen looked between them, then smiled. It's about time. What's about time? You figuring out what the rest of us already knew. What's that? That you belong together. She patted his cheek. Now go inside. Your daughter's been asking for both of you. Zara was waiting on the couch, the stuffed rabbit clutched to her chest. Daddy, Eleanor, you're both here. We're both here, Marcus confirmed. Are you staying, Eleanor? For real this time? Eleanor looked at Marcus. He nodded. Yeah, sweetheart, Eleanor said. I'm staying. For real this time. Zara's face lit up. Forever? Forever. She launched herself at both of them, wrapping her small arms around their legs. I knew it. I knew you'd stay. How did you know? Because you're good people, and good people stay. Marcus lifted his daughter into his arms. Eleanor pressed close to his side. 3 people, 3 different kinds of broken, finding a way to be whole together. Story time? Zara asked hopefully. It's past your bedtime. 1 story, please. Eleanor can read it. Eleanor smiled. I'd love to read a story. They piled onto Zara's small bed. Eleanor read from a book about a mouse who was scared of the dark. The same book she'd brought to the hospital all those months ago. Halfway through, Zara's eyes drifted closed. Eleanor finished the story anyway, her voice soft in the dim room. When she closed the book, Marcus was watching her. What? Nothing. Just thinking.
About what?
About how I almost didn't jump.
What do you mean?
That night, at the river, for half a second, I thought about calling 911 and waiting, about being smart, about not risking my life for a stranger.
Why didn't you?
Marcus looked at his sleeping daughter, at the woman beside him, at the life he almost didn't have. Because some things are worth the risk. Eleanor leaned over and kissed him softly.
I'm glad you jumped.
Me too. They sat together in the dark, watching Zara sleep. Outside, the city hummed with life. Somewhere, the Alder River ran cold and indifferent, carrying its secrets toward the sea. But in this small room, in this small apartment, 3 people held on to each other. A family built not from blood, but from choice, from courage, from love. 6 months after the night Marcus jumped into the Alder River, Eleanor's brother David came to Ravenport.
Marcus watched from the kitchen doorway as Eleanor paced the penthouse, checking her reflection in every surface.
You look fine. I look terrified. That's because you are terrified. Not helping, Marcus. He crossed to her and took her hands, stopping her mid-pace. Hey, look at me. She looked. This is your brother, the same kid who used to steal your Halloween candy, the same person who cried with you on the phone 3 weeks ago. He's not coming to judge you. You don't know that. I know he drove 6 hours to see you. That's not what people do when they want to judge. Eleanor's grip tightened on his hands. What if it's awkward? It will be awkward. What if we don't know what to say? You won't know what to say. Marcus, you're terrible at this. I'm being honest. It's going to be hard. But hard isn't the same as bad. He pulled her close. And you won't be alone. Zara and I will be right here.
As if summoned, Zara appeared from the guest room where she'd been playing.
Is Eleanor's brother here yet? Not yet, baby. I made him a card. She held up a piece of construction paper covered in glitter and crayon. It says, "Welcome to our family." Is that okay? Eleanor's eyes filled. That's perfect, sweetheart. The doorbell rang. Eleanor froze. I can't do this. Yes, you can. Marcus, Eleanor, you faced down a hostile board. You went on national television. You survived 8 minutes in a burning room. He cupped her face in his hands. You can open a door. She took a breath, then another. Okay. She walked to the door, paused, opened it. David Chase stood in the hallway. He was taller than Eleanor, with the same dark hair but none of her scars. Beside him, a woman with kind eyes, his wife, Zara. And behind them, 2 children, a boy around 7, a girl around 5. Nobody spoke. Then David's face crumpled. Ellie.
He hadn't called her that since they were kids.
David. They fell into each other's arms. Marcus watched Eleanor's shoulders shake, watched David hold his sister like he was afraid she'd disappear. Watched 30 years of distance collapse in a single embrace. Zara tugged his sleeve. Daddy, why are they crying? Because they missed each other. For how long? A very long time. That's sad. It was, but it's not anymore. When Eleanor and David finally separated, both wiping their eyes,
Sarah stepped forward.
I'm so glad to finally meet you, Eleanor. David's told me so much. Only the good parts, I hope. All of it, the good and the hard.
Sarah hugged her.
Your family, that's what matters.
The children hung back, shy. The boy, Marcus learned his name was James, studied Eleanor with curious eyes.
Are you really our aunt?
I really am.
Dad said you got hurt in a fire.
James, David's voice held a warning. It's okay.
Eleanor knelt down to the boy's level. I did get hurt. A long time ago. That's why I have scars.
Can I see them? James, that's not if you want.
Eleanor pushed up her sleeve, showing the edge of scarred tissue.
They don't hurt anymore. They're just part of me now.
James studied the scars with the frank curiosity of childhood.
They look like a map.
A map?
Yeah, like roads going different places.
He traced one with his finger.
This one looks like it goes to the mountains.
Eleanor laughed, a wet, surprised sound.
I never thought of it that way. Dad says scars mean you survived something.
Your dad's right.
Did it hurt?
Very much.
Are you okay now?
Eleanor looked at Marcus, at Zara, at the family gathered in her doorway.
Yeah, she said. I'm okay now.
They spent the afternoon getting to know each other. Marcus grilled burgers on Eleanor's rooftop terrace, while David and Eleanor talked in the corner. 30 years of silence, slowly filling with words. Zara appointed herself official tour guide, showing James and his sister Lily around the penthouse.
This is where Eleanor reads. This is where she makes waffles. They're kind of burnt, but we don't tell her that. This is where Daddy kissed her for the first time. I wasn't supposed to see, but I did.
Marcus nearly choked on his beer. Sarah laughed.
She's adorable.
She's a handful.
The best ones always are.
As the sun began to set, Eleanor found Marcus at the grill.
Thank you.
For what?
For being here. For making this feel normal.
She leaned against his shoulder.
For everything.
This is what family does.
I wouldn't know. I haven't had one in a long time.
You do now. She kissed his cheek.
Yeah, I do now.
Later, after David and his family left with promises to return soon, after Zara fell asleep on the couch clutching her glitter card, Eleanor stood at the window looking out at the city. Marcus came up behind her, wrapped his arms around her waist. Penny for your thoughts.
I was thinking about the fire.
What about it?
For 30 years, it was the worst thing that ever happened to me. The thing that defined everything. My scars, my fears, my relationships. She turned in his arms. But if the fire hadn't happened, I wouldn't have these scars. And if I didn't have these scars, I wouldn't have asked you that question at the river.
Would you stay if I undressed everything?
Yeah, that one.
She touched his face.
The fire took so much from me. But it also led me here, to you, to Zara, to today, with my brother and his kids.
You finding the silver lining?
I'm finding something. I don't know what to call it yet.
How about hope? She smiled.
Yeah,
maybe that's it. 3 months later, Marcus asked Eleanor to marry him. Not with a fancy dinner or a planned proposal. Not with roses or champagne or any of the things he thought a CEO might expect. He asked her at the river. Same spot, same cold water rushing past, same place where everything had begun. I wanted to do this here, he said, one knee in the mud, a simple ring in his trembling hand. Because this is where I found you. This is where you asked me to stay. Eleanor was crying. She'd been crying since he'd pulled the ring from his pocket.
Marcus.
Let me finish. I practiced this. She laughed through her tears. Okay, finish. I'm not a rich man. I work with my hands. I live in a small apartment with a 7-year-old daughter who asks too many questions and a neighbor who makes too many casseroles. He swallowed hard. But I love you. I love you in a way I didn't think I could love anyone after Keisha died.
And I want to spend the rest of my life proving that to you.
Marcus, I'm almost done. He took a breath. I know I can't give you penthouses or private elevators or any of the things you're used to. But I can give you this. I will stay, no matter what, no matter how hard it gets or how scared we are. I will stay. Eleanor dropped to her knees in the mud beside him. Yes. I haven't asked yet. I don't care. Yes. Eleanor Chase. Will you? Yes. 1,000 times yes. He slid the ring onto her finger. It wasn't expensive. He'd saved for 2 months, even with Luis slipping him extra shifts. But it fit perfectly. It's beautiful, Eleanor whispered. It was my grandmother's. She gave it to my grandfather the day they got married. They were together for 53 years. 53 years. Think we can beat that? I think we can try. He kissed her. She tasted like tears and joy and something that felt like home.
When they broke apart, Eleanor looked at the river.
You know what I realized? What? I'm not afraid of the water anymore. No? No. She stood, pulling him with her. I spent 23 years terrified of drowning. But you can't drown if someone's holding on to you. That's not technically true. Shut up and let me have my moment. He laughed and pulled her close. Have your moment. They stood together at the river's edge, 2 people who'd survived the worst and found each other anyway. The wedding was small. Eleanor wanted something intimate. No press, no board members, no business associates. Just the people who mattered. They held it at the river, the same spot where Marcus had proposed, the same spot where he'd pulled her from the water. Mrs. Chen said it was romantic. Luis said it was crazy. Zara said it was perfect. Marcus wore a suit he'd bought for the occasion. Eleanor wore a white dress that showed her scars.
Are you sure? Marcus had asked when she showed him the design.
You don't have to. I want to. She'd traced the edge of the fabric, where the burns would be visible. These scars are part of me, and you love all of me, so they should be there. The ceremony was simple. A friend of Mrs. Chen's officiated, a retired judge who owed her a favor. Do you, Marcus James Thompson, take Eleanor Marie Chase to be your wife? I do. Do you, Eleanor Marie Chase, take Marcus James Thompson to be your husband? I do. Then by the power vested in me, wait! Everyone turned. Zara pushed forward, clutching a piece of paper. I have to say something first. Marcus knelt down. Baby, what are you doing? I wrote vows too, for the family part. Eleanor's hand flew to her mouth. Can I read them? Please? Marcus looked at Eleanor. She nodded, tears already falling. Go ahead, sweetheart. Zara cleared her throat importantly. Dear Daddy and Eleanor,
Today you're getting married, which means we're becoming a family for real. I know we were already a family, but now it's official. She paused, squinting at her handwriting. I promise to share my toys with any new brothers or sisters. I promise to let Eleanor read me stories even when she does the voices wrong. And I promise to love both of you forever and ever, even when you're old and wrinkly. Laughter rippled through the small crowd. Mommy would be happy. I know because I asked her last night.
I talked to her picture like Daddy does, and I told her about Eleanor, and I felt warm inside. Daddy says that's how you know someone's listening from heaven. Marcus's vision blurred. So I want Eleanor to know, you're not replacing Mommy, you're just adding to our family. Mommy will always be my mommy. But now I have Eleanor too, and that's not sad, that's lucky. She folded her paper. The end. Eleanor was openly sobbing. Marcus wasn't far behind. He pulled Zara into a hug, lifting her so she was between them. That was beautiful, baby. I practiced. It showed. The judge cleared his throat. Well, after that, anything I say will feel inadequate. He smiled. By the power vested in me by the state, I now pronounce you husband and wife. And family. Marcus kissed Eleanor, while Zara squirmed between them, giggling. Ew, Daddy, your breath smells like coffee. Deal with it. We're family now. They celebrated at Eleanor's penthouse. David and his family came, Luis and the construction crew, Mrs. Chen and half the building, Gerald the doorman, who turned out to be surprisingly good at karaoke. As the party wound down, Marcus found Eleanor on the terrace, looking at the city lights. Mrs. Thompson. She turned, smiling. Mr. Thompson. How does it feel? Like waking up from a very long sleep. She moved into his arms. Like finally being home. Eleanor? Yeah? I never told you what I thought that night when I pulled you from the river. What did you think? He was quiet for a moment. I thought, this one I'm going to save. You did save me. No, we saved each other. Below them, the city pulsed with life. Above them, stars emerged one by one. Marcus? Yeah? Thank you. For what? For staying. When I asked you to stay? He kissed her forehead. Always. 1 year later, on the anniversary of the night they met, Marcus and Eleanor took Zara to the river. Why are we here, Daddy? Because this is where our story started. The drowning story? The love story. Zara wrinkled her nose. Same thing. Eleanor laughed. She's not wrong. They stood at the water's edge, the three of them. The river ran gentler now. Summer had warmed it, softened its edges. I have something to tell you both, Eleanor said. Marcus's heart skipped. What? She took a breath. I went to the doctor last week. Is something wrong? No, something's right. She placed her hand on her stomach. Very, very right. Marcus froze. Eleanor, are you... I'm pregnant. Silence. Then Zara shrieked. I'm getting a brother or sister? Maybe both. Twins run in my family. Twins! Marcus couldn't speak. His throat was closed, his eyes burning. Say something, Eleanor whispered. Please. He pulled her into his arms. I love you. I know. I love you so much. I know. Zara danced around them, chanting, Twins! 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 Until an elderly couple walking by started laughing. When did you find out? Marcus asked. 3 days ago. I wanted to wait, to tell you here, where everything started. He pressed his forehead to hers. We're going to be parents. Together. Scared? Terrified. Me too, she smiled. But the good kind of terrified. There's a good kind? The kind where something wonderful is about to happen. Where your life is about to change in ways you can't control. She touched his face.
The kind where you just have to jump and trust. Marcus thought about the night he'd pulled her from this river. The cold, the fear, the moment he'd felt her pulse under his fingers. I've gotten good at jumping. I've noticed. They walked home along the riverside path, Zara running ahead, Eleanor's hand in his. The same path he'd walked with Zara the night everything changed. The same path where a scream had split the air and he'd made a choice that altered the course of his life. Marcus? Yeah? Do you ever wonder what would have happened if you hadn't jumped? Sometimes. What do you think? I think you would have drowned, and I would have spent the rest of my life wondering if I could have saved you. And instead? Instead, I saved you, and you saved me. And now we're walking by a river talking about twins. He squeezed her hand. I'd say we made the right choice. We? I jumped. You asked me to stay. It took both of us. Eleanor stopped walking. I never told you what I was thinking before I fell. When you were on the path? Yeah, before my heel slipped, before everything changed. She looked at the water. I was thinking about ending it. Marcus's blood went cold. Eleanor. Not jumping. I wasn't going to jump. But I was walking by the river thinking, what's the point? I have money and power and everything I'm supposed to want. And I'm so lonely I can't breathe. I was thinking about how easy it would be to just stop. Stop fighting. Stop pretending. Stop. She turned to face him. And then I slipped, and the water hit me, and I thought, this is it. This is how it ends. Alone, in the dark, just like I always knew I would. Tears streamed down her face. But then there were hands, your hands, pulling me up, holding on to me, and I thought, someone came. Someone actually came. Marcus pulled her close. I'll always come. I know. That's why I'm still here. She buried her face in his chest. You didn't just save me from drowning, Marcus. You saved me from giving up. Eleanor, I needed you to know, before the babies come, before we become even more of a family. She pulled back, wiping her eyes. You didn't just jump into a river that night. You jumped into my whole life. And you changed everything. He cupped her face in his hands. You changed everything too. I was surviving before you, going through the motions, being strong for Zara because I had to be. But I wasn't living. He kissed her softly. You taught me how to live again. We taught each other. Yeah, we did. Zara ran back toward them. Why are you guys always crying? This is supposed to be happy. It is happy, baby. Then why the tears? Eleanor knelt down. Because sometimes happy feels so big, it leaks out of your eyes. Zara considered this. That's weird. Very weird. Okay, can we get ice cream now? Marcus laughed. Yeah, baby. We can get ice cream. They walked on. 3 people, soon to be 5, bound together not by blood, but by choice, by courage, by love. The Alder River ran beside them, cold and ancient, carrying its secrets toward the sea. But Marcus didn't look at it with fear anymore. He looked at it with gratitude. Because that river had given him everything. A drowning woman who needed saving. A question that changed his life. A second chance at love he never thought he'd have. Would you stay if I undressed everything? The answer had been yes from the beginning. The answer would be yes until the end. And somewhere, Marcus knew, Keisha was smiling.
Because love isn't a finite thing. It doesn't run out. It grows. It expands. It finds new shapes and new places and new people to hold. Marcus had learned that from Eleanor, from Zara, from everyone who'd taught him that surviving wasn't the same as living. He was living now. Really, truly living. And it had all started with a jump. As they walked into the sunset, Zara skipping ahead, Eleanor's hand warm in his, Marcus made himself a promise. He would keep jumping. For this woman. For these children, born and unborn. For this family he'd built from the wreckage of loss. He would keep jumping until his last breath. Because that's what love required. Not perfection, not certainty, not the absence of fear. Just the courage to leap. And the faith that someone would be there to catch you. The end.